board certified physician with more than 15 years of experience in direct patient care. She serves as the Behavioral Health Medical Director of Qual Choice and the Chief Development Officer of a foundation that serves women and children impacted by domestic violence, suicide, divorce, and prescription drug abuse. Moreover, she is the immediate past medical director for the Arkansas Minority Health Commission. Dr. Rhonda Maddox. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I feel impressed hearing that, but let me just tell you, when I come into chapel, I am not a doctor or a consultant or whatever. I am a child of the Most High, and I'm honored to be here. I thank Dr. Green, President Green, and Reverend Mary for inviting me. I thank Dr. Gilbert for that lovely introduction. It is such a joy to be in this place talking to you all, and in part because I remember my reason for going to college, and it wasn't to get an education. I have to tell you, college was my getaway plan. I was raised by a single mom who had been a victim of domestic violence, and so she was very temperamental. I walked on eggshells many times. I didn't know if she was going to come home happy or sad, and so I used books to get away. So lots of people in that situation, maybe they go out and they drink or they use men or whatever, but for me, I read a lot, and that's how I went to other places. Growing up in Stamps, Arkansas, there's only a population of 2,000, but whenever I dived into a book, I would get to experience things that I was never, ever, ever going to experience in Stamps, Arkansas. And so that's when I got to know what other people's lives look like. To impress some people who did not want the best for me. And it wasn't that they didn't want the best for me, but it was as I was getting better, as I was changing, as I was learning new things and implementing those new things, what I was inadvertently doing without knowing it was I was holding up a mirror to them, and I was showing them that their excuses for I can't do this because I was raised here, I can't do this because my mom didn't do this, I was taking away their excuses. I didn't mean to be taking away their excuses. I was just trying to get better. But they could no longer use the excuses that they had been using for not doing better because there was somebody from their hood who was doing better. And that was a problem. Now, I really think that they wanted better for me, but I think in their not doing better for them, it was hard for them to be happy for me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so, good people. And I understood because I'd been there and I'd seen people doing better, and I thought about, what about me, God? When is it going to be my time? So it doesn't mean that they're bad people, but it does mean that if you continue to hold on to trying to impress people who do not want you to evolve, you're going to be there with them.
Yes.
You are. And it's unfortunate. But here's the thing. The scripture says in Psalms 1, it gives you the secret to success. And it says, happy, empowered to prosper, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly,
That's right.
nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of scorners, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And it talks about how that person's going to be like a tree planted by living water, whatsoever they do shall prosper. And in that scripture, it's very power-packed because it talks about who you're getting your counsel from. Okay? And many times in our community, in the minority community, in the faith community, in the Southern community, we don't think we need any counseling. We just need the Lord, and he'll make a way. And you do need God, absolutely 100%. But I want you to know, in a multitude of counselors, there's safety. But not just any counselors. They need to be godly, right?
That's right.
And so when you are taking your counsel from godly people who can hear from God, when you are not sitting with scorners, and let me tell you what a scorner is. A scorner is someone who is making fun of, who is putting down others, who is talking about everybody. That you cannot hear a compliment come out of their mouth to save their life. And really what they're doing is they're reflecting how they feel
that you pray for, but those are not the people that you share your dreams and your aspirations with. Because even if they don't say anything, if they just give you that look,
Yeah, they trying to question it.
you understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so you don't let anybody pour water on the fire of your dreams. You don't do it.
That's
And
right.
I encourage you, I beg you, to write down the 5 people in your lives that every time you talk to them, when you leave, you feel horrible afterwards. Every time. They talked, they poured garbage in your spirit, they talked about everybody and everything, and maybe you that person. Maybe it's not somebody else. But you write down those folks, and if you want to change, you're gonna have to change your thinking, and you're gonna have to change the folks that you're hanging with.
That's
Now, I
right.
have an unofficial advisory council. They don't know who they are. But when I'm down, I know who to call to feel better. And I also know who to call to feel worse. You know, if I have some cheerleaders in my life, they don't know they're on the advisory council, but if I need to smile, I know exactly who to go to. And when I'm wrong, you know, that's, baby, you wrong. But you sure look good while you were being, I mean, they're gonna say something good about me, regardless of what I have going on, regardless. And so I know who to call. And when I don't, and I don't wanna, honestly, I don't wanna call everybody, I wanna talk to the Lord. But when I don't have a good sense to do that, I know who to call to make me feel better. But I also know who to call if I wanna feel better.
That's right.
Now, this is what I'm going to encourage you to do. Because you heard me say, empowered to prosper, happy, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly. Now, you can be ungodly and going to church, let me be clear. Okay?
Come on
And so it
now.
doesn't matter what Here's the thing, so you need to write down those people who make you feel awful. And I'm not telling you to separate yourself entirely from them, but I'm telling you, don't spend an hour or 2 each day on the phone with them. You know, and for me, I try not to even spend 5 minutes on the phone. And so maybe, you know, and maybe it's your mom or your dad, text them. I've been thinking about you, I love you, but don't make those your ace boons that you talk to all the time, because you're gonna feel worse. And afterwards, when you are supposed to be producing God's best, God's finest, His brilliant ideas, when you're supposed to be generating those and putting them forth, you are going to be meditating on the foolishness that you just heard. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's not it. And so, the person who walks down the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of scorners. And these are the folks you hanging with. Now, you gotta work with folks. But the people that you're reclining with, that you're going out to dinner with, you have some options, and you don't have to choose that for your life. But then that scripture talks about, what are you thinking about? Now, we have a tendency when we've been done wrong, I'm guilty as well, to meditate on all the foolishness that someone has done to us, against us, what they said about us. Never mind that we've done some of the same stuff, right?
Right.
That's irrelevant.
Right.
But they've done this to me. And so when you start to think about all of that over and over and over again, guess how you feel? Awful. If I told you today, think about the worst thing that's ever happened to you, you would notice that your breathing sped up, that it was more shallow, you would notice a tenseness in your neck, all of those kinds of things. But if I said to you, and I'm gonna say this to you, close your eyes and think about walking. Close your eyes now. Close your eyes and think about walking along the beach. You can feel the sand, the cool breeze going through your hair or your head. You hear the kids laughing. You see the blue waves. You look up and you are so thankful. It is so beautiful outside. There's not a cloud in the sky. And you just start breathing deep from your belly, slowly. And then you breathe out. And then you breathe in. You're breathing in happiness. You're breathing out unforgiveness. You're breathing in love. You're breathing out toxicity. You're breathing in forgiveness. You're breathing out blackness. How do you feel?
Much better.
You feel much better. As a man thinketh,
So
so is he. If you elect to meditate on those things that have been most toxic for you, that has been most harmful to you, you're participating with the enemy's plan to destroy you with migraine headaches, with fibromyalgia, with hypertension, with cholesterol problems. You're participating. Because when you start to feel those things happening to you, many times what do you want to do? You want to eat some ice cream, some cookies, some Snickers, right?
Chicken nugget.
You know, you want to eat those things that are not healthy for you. One of the things that I did in my senior year of medical school, when I was going through so much, I wanted to lose weight. I wasn't interested in exercising. But when I started to say, I'm going to walk whenever I feel anxious. I'm going to walk whenever I feel uptight. I had immediate results from my walking. And it wasn't about losing weight. Well, guess what? The weight flowed off, right? But the calmness flowed in. And that's what happens. We, particularly as African American women, and certainly as African American men as well, are so busy taking care of other people's expectations and their needs that we do not address our own. If you've ever ridden in an airplane, they say, in the unlikely event of a water landing, i.e. the plane falls out the sky, we want you to put the oxygen mask on yourself and then help the child that has the most potential. But the point is, you have to take care of yourself. And we have not been trained to do that. We've been trained to be super women and super men and not identify what our needs are to the point to where it is absolutely destroying our bodies. And so I challenge you, as you're making these decisions about what your career should be, I challenge you to think outside of what other people expect of you. There are people, when I said I wanted to be a psychiatrist, my dad said, I thought you were going to be a real doctor. Psychiatry, I had made the most impact that I could make as a psychiatrist. When he started talking to me about that foolishness, I was very respectful. And I even kind of made a little transition. And I looked at dermatology. And I did a dermatology research project. I did a dermatology elective. It stunk and it was miserable. It was not for me. Had I done dermatology to fulfill somebody else's expectation of my life, I can assure you I would have been most miserable. There were other people in my class who wanted to be a psychiatrist, but they followed the lead of their parents, who told them that. And I understand you love your parents, and now they're most miserable. I am the only physician that I know who's happy doing the work that I do. And I would follow.
Very good work.
Thank you. And I follow my passions. Now I have to tell you, when I was young, I had this dream. And in the dream, there was this bridge. And I wanted to walk over the bridge. But my gut, also known as the Spirit of God, was telling me don't do it. Was telling me to dive into the deep. And you have to know that at that time I couldn't swim. So I really wasn't interested in diving into the deep. But when I dived in, I remember this beautiful water. And I was dancing in the water, right? And it was where my genius was. When you go and you follow the purpose that God has for you, and that God has for your life, your genius shows up. Now, if you are a fish and you're out of water, you look like a fool. But you throw a fish into water, and that's where their genius awakens. And that's where they can do things that others can't do. Now, before you were created, before you were placed in your mother's womb, God had purpose for you. And the scripture says in Psalms that he has the books of your life written before you ever gave breath. Here's the thing. If you do not follow your life's purpose and your life's calling, you're going to be forever miserable. Not forever. You have points of happiness. But here's the thing. You will be fulfilling someone else's expectations of you, and you won't be happy. You spend at least, generally speaking, 8 to 10 hours a day at work. Sometimes you're working with people you like. Sometimes you're working with people you don't like. But the important thing is for you to like the work that you're doing. And here's the thing. A friend of mine who is a pain doc invites me over to be a pain doc at her clinic. I told her I'd rather walk through hell in a gasoline suit than do that. Because that's not my calling. But when I see her in action, she is energized, she's mobilized. But working with people who have chronic pain conditions is
Yes,
And
it
she
is.
thinks the same thing about me. But that is where I draw my strength from. And when I'm doing it, you know, if you heard what I heard, you might be committing suicide. But God has positioned me to do what I do, and He invigorates me
Yes.
and enlivens me in doing what I am called to do. And so if you want to know, you know, want to have some idea of what you're called to do, there's some things that you should do. One of the things you should write down is who you don't like working with.
That's right.
Where you don't like work. You need to know what you don't like before you get to what you do like. I knew what I didn't want. I knew where I didn't want to work. I knew those things. And then I started thinking about all the jobs that I had that I really liked. And it wasn't with me working by myself. It was always me talking to people, me depositing into people, those kinds of things. And so I have been kind of like a kindergarten teacher all my life. If you have an encounter with me, when you leave, you feel better. You feel like you were more brilliant, you feel more capable, you feel like you can do some things. That's who I am. That is who I am. And my husband is a finance guy. You put that stuff in front of me, you have drained all of my energy. And I tell the joke, this is really, really crazy. So I told you he's a finance guy. So if you look at his office is meticulous. You look at my office, and so he charged me with keeping the books for accounting. That was foolish, right? And so it would, right before tax time, it would be just, because that wasn't my gifting, that was his gifting. If you are walking in the things that you enjoy doing, you'll feel energized. I want you to pay attention to your body when you have to do certain things. The things that bring you the most joy, write it down. The things that bring you the least joy, write it down. The kinds of personalities that you like working with, write it down. That will give you some ideas. If you are a loner, I do not believe that, perhaps you are being called to, do certain things. But here's the thing, God is funny, like, I'm talking to you about what I don't believe. But here's the thing, He might just be calling you to do that and to step out of your comfort zone. The big thing is for you to develop a relationship with God and to hear from Him. And you have to silence Mama and them.
Yes.
Come on now, say that.
All of them. All of them. So that you can hear and follow that still voice. And I'm telling you, when you are walking in your gifts and your calling, there are some things. Now, I talked to you earlier about who you should hang out with, right?
Right.
And who you should not hang out with. I didn't talk to you about what you should be thinking about. So here's the deal. I told you I want to be a psychiatrist. My knowledge of psychiatry was based on Frasier. I watched a TV show in the 80s and 90s, and Frasier was a psychiatrist who was on the radio. I never saw Frasier writing scripts or anything like that. So I went through college and med school without ever having gone to see a psychiatrist. So when I rotated through psychiatry, that is not what I had in mind. And I was like, oh Lord, I made a mistake. If you are interested in doing something, you should at least talk to some folks who have done that. If you don't know some folks, you got some teachers around here. If you want to be an accountant, volunteer to intern with an accountant. No, you're not going to get paid for it. But when you go look for a job, they're going to say, I want some experience. And you're going to be saying, well, I can't get no experience and nobody will hire me. Well, I'm telling you today, everybody in this room, I'm not hiring you to get any experience with my money. I will hire somebody knowledgeable. If you want some experience, volunteer. Volunteer in the dean's office. Volunteer. Find somebody. Folks will let you work for them for free.
Amen. Amen. Yes, they
But
will.
nobody gonna pay you $8 an hour, $20 an hour so you can learn on their dime. Hello. Hello. And so the things that you need to be thinking about is, how do I get some experience doing what I say I want to do? And I know, I've been there. I want to make some money in the summer months. You don't have to intern for 40 hours a week at some of those places. Some places you can intern for 16 hours a week. Some places you can do it half a day, every other day. You can get some experience. If you can't find anybody who will do that, volunteer at a church. Church people will let you help. Now listen, there is no clock up here. What time is it? And how much time? Okay, it's time. Okay. So I'm going to start wrapping up, but the kinds of things that you need to be thinking about is how you can get some experience. Developing relationships with people who are not draining of you. Thinking about how to get to that next level. Reading about people who have done what you want to do and have succeeded. Before I graduated from medical school, I hired a financial advisor because I had worked entirely too hard for Pookie and them to come up with a scheme to get my money. Right? And so I hired a financial advisor to help me, and I read lots of books. Who wants to be a millionaire? I want to be a millionaire. Well, that means I cannot take advice from homeless folks. I had this lady, and I'm going to wrap it up, call me and ask me if I would talk to someone that I didn't know about getting into medical school. I said, certainly. I talked to her, and then she called me back, and she didn't take any of the advice. She took someone else's advice. And I said, is that person a doctor? And she said, no. I said, have they gone to med school and flunked out? She said, no. I said, darling, you just asked a homeless man how to get a mortgage.
Right.
And so if you want counsel on how to do something, you can ask divorced people how to be married, but it's real helpful for you to ask married people who are happy how to be married. If you want to be an accountant, find some of your teachers to introduce you to somebody and ask them questions. And in this age of Skype, you can Skype them or you can you can have a phone conversation with them. But talk to some folks, read some stuff that's not a magazine, and figure out what you need to do in order to go to the next level. I'm very proud of each and every one of you who have chosen to come to this school to better yourselves. Some of you may be like me, we're running away from, and some of you are running towards a better life. Whatever it is, do not let anyone's perception of, man, you done changed. Change your mind.
That's right.
Yes, you have changed. I'm so proud that you have. Yes, and you should. And I need you to surround yourself with some people who are proud of you and who want to support you and who aren't just asking for a handout and not a handout. Thank you all for inviting me, and I hope you guys